Many years ago, I was invited to Nigeria, and I remember when I was this vehicle picked us up, a bunch of us, and we were driving on this one-lane highway, and a bus was coming at us, and we were coming at the bus, and I remember there was no windshield, and the wiper blades would work, but there was no windshield on this thing. And we were going, and we missed the other bus by like a paint job. Like, that's how close it looked like we're playing chicken with this other vehicle. And I remember we went to some of the roundabouts, and the roundabouts had certain colors around them, like the yellow, black color, and that immediately reminded me of Pakistan, where I was from, and I remember seeing roundabouts with those colors. And right then, God spoke to me, and he said, "Son, do you know why I brought you here?" And I said, "No, Lord, why?" Because I don't want you to forget where you came from because of where I'm taking you. In other words, we should never forget where God brought us out of. Like David, he was a shepherd boy in the back. And God said that to David. He says, "You're a shepherd boy, and I took you from being a shepherd boy, and I made you great, and I made you the king of Israel." I did all that. God sovereignly took him from that place. And God was reminding David, it was me who did that. I took you when you were nobody, and I brought you to this place of prominence, give you a seat of authority, and made you a king. And so we should always remember where we came from, and remember it's God's sovereignty working that out in our life. And that's why it does take personal character. And you can't, if you're going to carry a mantle, your life is different. You have to choose to set apart your life to Him and to that seat. You have to be set apart to a seat if you want a mantle to function effectively in your life. And so we got to be willing to be set apart. And that's why Daniel 1:8, powerful statement, Daniel says. Daniel had an amazing seat of authority and a powerful mantle, and he's outreigned like 5 kings. He served them. And the key about Daniel was, he said in Daniel 1:8, that Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the king's meat and the king's wine. He knew that he would not defile himself. Because when you have a mantle, when you have a seat of authority, your life is different. It can't be like everybody else. You can't watch what everybody else watches. You can't go where everyone else goes. You can't do, even as a young kid, as a teenager, you might feel like God's calling you differently, and you got to yield to that, rather than, like Jeremiah had to yield to it as a young youth. He was 18, 19 years old when God gave him a seat of authority. That's pretty young. Joseph was 30 when he became the prime minister of Egypt, for crying out loud. That's pretty young. David became king over all the nation of Israel when he was 30. That's a pretty good age. But these guys all started when they were young, because they were set apart when they were young. Daniel was young when God used him, but he started when he was young, purposed in his heart while he was young. So really, no matter what stage of life you are, whether you're young or middle-aged or a little bit older on in years, you can start now and say, "God, I'm going to be set apart." So the first thing, remember, every assignment is about being set apart. The apple, which is being set apart, to the Stella, which is carrying out your assignment. You need to take our course, Discover Your Apostolic Assignment, if you have not taken it yet, so you can kind of catch up to all this. But that's really the thing, Bev, is being set apart to God. Don't forget where you came from. Let's stay humble. The mantle is not about who we are. It's about God entrusting us with a spiritual uniform to get the job done, to serve other people.